Welcome to everybody. Welcome to Fractal live tutorial. Fractal Saturday live. And today we speak about a super simple object, a super simple block, but I received a lot of requests, a lot of questions regarding how to use the volume block, because pedal is one thing, block is another thing. We have to separate, especially on Fractal. And sometimes I see that some people are not 100% the knowledge about the volume. Of course, as usual, the using of the effect is really creative. There are some rules we can follow, but if you want sometime to be creative, you have to go out from the rules. Okay, it's absolutely up to you. And one of the most benefit of the digital modeler is that you can try. You can try yourself, you can find your own experience, and you can check what is better for you. This is only a tutorial. I wanted to share with you about my knowledge regarding the using of a volume pedal. I wanted to show you how I use it, some tricks that I found out, and okay, of course I am happy if you like this tutorial, of course, and I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to the G66 channel. Thanks so much, so G66 for the support. And let's start, guys. Let's start with this preset where I use the volume pedal. As you see, I share many times my presets with you, and you know, there is this circuit that I use to handle with only a single volume pedal, volume and also wah and also whammy or other effects. First of all, volume, here on my table, I would like to show with you, just a moment. I have the, okay, on my table, sorry, I have to adjust the picture here is to okay. Now I am the EV2 pedal, okay, but I have also EV1 on the floor because I have FM3 on the desk, also FM9. Of course, this tutorial is valid for any kind of fractal unit, of course. Okay, first of all, EV2 and EV1 can work in both mode, can work as a standard volume pedal with input and output, okay, but also with expression pedal. What is the difference? The difference is if you want to use the volume pedal as a standard volume, you can use it, of course, plug in your guitar cable here, plug out on the output, then go into the fractal. But this is, to me, it is really I have to adjust this picture because it's not so nice. Let me check. How can I adjust it? Okay, well, not nice. But in any case, my suggestion is, first of all, is to use as an expression pedal. You can use the TRS-Kabel, okay, to connect the expression output to the pedal 1 or pedal 2. Okay, this is the best use, because if you plug in the guitar here and then go to the fractal, of course, first of all, you are forced to use the volume pedal at the beginning of the chain, the sound chain, and this is, to me, is not good. I will explain you. Then you affect the sound of your guitar, of the impedance of the pedal, because the pedal, it is a potentiometer. There is a potentiometer inside, and this potentiometer give a small impact of the sound. Typically, the sound is darker than the standard sound, because it is a physics component, is a potential, it is a resistors inside, and resistor causes let's say an attenuation of the high frequency. But in any case, makes no sense, because when you connect the EV2 or EV1 to the pedal, you are absolutely free to use this pedal in a different ways, and this is the best condition. Of course, you can use at a standard one, but I don't recommend to use it in this mode. Okay. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much to be here. Well, let's come back to the editor. I have to. Unfortunately, this editor changed dramatically my setup for this. Okay. Let me check. Give me a moment. Okay. Now I can work. Okay. Now you can see me. Perfect. So, when you connect... when you connect the volume to the pedal one, you have let's say a controller. It's not anymore a volume itself. It's not only volume. It could be everything. It is a modifier. So it is a parameter inside the Fractal that you can use for different using. If you wanted to use as a volume pedal, of course, you have to insert a volume block. Volume block is a really simple block. Then you have to connect the pedal to the volume, because otherwise it doesn't work. It is only fixed volume. It's not variable volume, like in this case. To do this, okay, you should know, nothing new. You connect the controller, in this case the pedal 1 or pedal 2 is up to you, in expression mode, not in the software ring, is a different using. You connect the pedal 1, you associate, you match the pedal 1 with the volume control. Okay? Then you can check easily that it works, because the yellow ball move from 0 to the maximum value. Oh. Okay? And this is pretty easy. Okay, first of all, you have to check if it works. If don't work, you have to verify the connection, the cables, and so on. Then now this is a really simple use, because when the pedal is down, the volume is 0. When the pedal is up, the volume is 10. Is 10 means 100% of the volume. But first of all, I think that is better to calibrate the pedal, because sometimes could happen that the value here is the value here is not really 10. Sometimes could be 9 point something. If this occurs, you have to check the calibration of the pedal. So let's check together what does mean to calibrate the pedal. Okay, this is my FM3. Go to the setup, then go to the I/O, enter, and with the page, you have the audio. I can zoom in. Just a moment, I can zoom. Okay, this is maybe it's better now. Okay, so I repeat. I am in the home page. Press setup. Okay, then go with the arrow to the I/O, enter. Okay, page right on the pedal menu here. Then, okay, you can set up and calibrate your pedal. Press enter, then move the pedal up and down, and when you have finished, please press enter. This is the calibration procedure. It is the first thing that you have to do with the pedal. Otherwise, you don't reach the maximum value, and you limit the functionality of the pedal. It is really easy. Okay, so let's come back again to the editor, and we can see that the volume goes to 0, 2. Another important thing is the volume itself is not a linear control. Linear means, okay, when we are in the middle, the value is 50%, but typically the volume is not linear, is let's say logarithmic control. And to change the behavior of the pedal, you can work on the mapping. Okay, the mapping is the possibility to draw the curve of the response of the pedal. You can change the start of the pedal, you can change the end, okay, but most important to me, it is the middle. And middle can define as a curve. And this to me is really important, because if you keep the curve as a linear, as a line, the control is not so nice, because the volume itself, it is a logarithmic control. When you are in the middle, you don't feel half volume. It's different. It's a difficult concept, but you can try yourself. It's very easy. If you work with this curve, okay, where, as you can see, this is the pedal is down now. I increase a little bit, and the perception of the effect of the volume is much more comfortable. It's much more. It seems linear to us, but it's not linear. But it is much more comfortable for the user. So try to modify the mid parameter, and you will find a better behavior of the volume. Okay, it is much more close to what we have with the potentiometer of the guitar. If you are an electronic engineer, you know that the potentiometer, the volume potentiometer of the guitar is not linear, is logarithmic. And when you set the volume to 5, is not the half of the resistor. It is a logarithmic value. It is a completely different value. But the perception that we have is we are in the middle. Okay, and this is the reason that I suggest you to modify this curve. Doesn't matter, there is not a specific value. I invite you to try this and modify this curve as your is absolutely up to you. Is your feeling that can check. Maybe some of you like better the linear curve, but in my case I use the volume always in this position. To me is much better. Different if when I use the wah or other controller like whammy and so on. In that case, and you have to consider also that when you use the volume, you use the foot, and the foot has a different different perception of the status of the volume. So try this control because it is very important. Okay, then another question that I receive a lot is where to put, where is the right position of the volume? It is a good question, but there are different answers and different needs about this. I prefer to use the volume in the beginning, just after the compressor block. Compressor, it is my first effect because I wanted to, let's say, especially on the clean channel, optimize the signal of the guitar. Then I go to the volume. Makes no sense to put the compressor after the volume, because compressor works, change the behavior of the signal. So compressor has to be in the first position in the guitar typical guitar chain, in the first position, or sometimes at the end. It depends of the using of this, but the volume has to be free of the influence of the compressor. So before you have to compress the signal, then you go to the volume. The volume in this position, that means that is before any distortion effect, and the behavior of this position, it is similar to the volume on your guitar. That means that low volume means low gain, because less signal go to the distorted amp, and we can check it. One example, with this high gain signal, it is really important to have this curve. Otherwise, you are not able, because the signal, the sound has a lot of gain, and to get a crunch sound with this signal, this sound is really difficult, because you have only small room to control. With this curve, you have more space, more room to tweak the signal. If I use the linear, you can hear the difference. The volume is immediately high. It's clear this is really important, especially when you use the volume before the distorted sound. Sorry for my English, guys. I know you know me. Sorry, but this is the effect. So I am practically at the beginning of the pedal, and the sound is too distorted. If I want a more linear and usable effect, I can use this curve. It's much more. It's much more easy to control the gain. This is the reason that I suggest you to use it and to try it. Very, very important, very important. So I can show you again. Okay, I have more room to set the gain of the sound. Okay, this is really important, and this is when the volume is before the distortion. Okay, the wah pedal has to be the compressor has to be the first one. In any case, wah pedal is before or after the volume, doesn't matter. In this case, it's in parallel. I will explain you why I use the wah pedal in parallel. Now, speaking about the volume. So, the effect of the volume in this position is exactly the same of the guitar, but you have a big advantage, because you know what is the treble blade circuit. Treble blade circuit is a circuit that some luthers put into the electronics to avoid that when you go down with the volume, the treble frequency are attenuated. And this is okay. It is a physical reason I don't want to explain, but you can have the right perception about this. The triple bleed, it is a circuit, a very small circuit. There are two components, one resistor and one capacitor, that helps to keep the high frequency when you go down with the volume. Okay, and this is due to the fact that the potentiometer is a resistor, is a passive component, and it is the same behavior when you use the volume pedal just before the fractal unit, as I explained you before. With this circuit, where the volume it is in this position, you have not this problem because the volume of your guitar remain at the maximum, and you can control the gain, okay, with the volume, and this control doesn't affect anything about the original sound, because here we are in the digital world. There is nothing passive, resistor, there is nothing. So it is a pure signal, digital signal, no attenuation, no nothing. This is the reason I love to use the volume in this position. Okay? Then, but we can use also the volume after the distortion. Okay, in this position. Why not? This is different because in this case the gain remain the same, only the volume change. So this is the effect that I only move the position of the block, and you can hear the completely different. Okay, because the sound is created by the amp, and then I control the volume, the signal, the distorted signal. I cannot do nothing with the distortion. I can only raise down the volume knob on the guitar. So when I put the volume to maximum, there is a big difference. And this is the position of the volume when you want to keep the sound as it is, and you want only to change the amount without affect the sound. Okay? Do you understand the difference? If no, please put a question in the chat or in the comment. Honestly, I have to tell you that you have to take care to use the volume in this position, because especially when you play on live stage, the sound engineer sometimes is difficult to follow you, because if you control the volume yourself, okay, with in this condition, and from the sound engineer that hear the sound from the PA is difficult. If you put your volume in some position and you change continuously, you have big difficult. And follow me, believe me, it is very complicated. Okay, you have to take care of this. What you can do for sure is to define some limits with again, let's come back to the configuration. We can define some limits that could be start and end. For example, I want to work with the volume only since this position, that means 30% to the maximum. So when you go down, this is the minimum volume. Let's set the mid. And you can, for example, define the rhythm sound and the lead sound. And you can only tweak the volume in between. You don't dramatically change the amount of volume. This could work. This could work. And as you can see here, it is the range of the volume is should be really low. For example, to 70% the minimum and 100% maximum. This is another big benefit to use the volume inside the fractal unit, because you can define this parameter. If you use external, the external volume, you cannot do this. Or you have a special, some volume pedal as the minimum potentiometer that you can set the minimum volume. Okay, but with the digital world, you can do anything. Okay. It's better to use the volume pedals, one before distortion and another after amp. Fabio Pavia, you can do this, but the functionality is different. Using before and after, of course, is up to you. My suggestion is to take care about the use of the volume after distortion. I repeat, because otherwise you have too much dynamic in the sound, and your perception of your sound into the mix could be different compared what the sound engineer hears from the PA. And this could be really dangerous and create some trouble in the mixing. Okay, check with your sound engineer what is better. The advantage of this configuration, of course, is that you set up the volume without affect the signal. The signal remains distorted. And also, it is really difficult if you don't set up the minimum. How can you do with the foot? It is really difficult, because if I let the things as a default value, how can decide with the foot the right position? I can only hear with my ears, but it's really difficult to have the same volume. Okay? I can have an idea, but the foot is a foot. I don't have a real feedback, and it is also difficult. Sometimes when you are playing on the stage, you cannot give the proper attention to the some parameters, the position, the volume, the effect, and so on. So it's really difficult to find out what is the right position for the rhythm part. Okay, you can base this on your ears, but the problem is sometimes could be higher, sometimes it could be lower, and so the engineer has to follow you. Oh, can I do it? So, it is a mess. It is a big mess, guys. So take care of the using of the volume in this position. As you can see here, in any case, the volume is placed just after the amp, not at the end. What's happened? I can show you. Just a moment. I have to create a space here. What's happened if I put the volume block at the end? Just a moment. I have to rebuild the rig. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so now I want to put the volume at the end. It is another opportunity. In this case, the result could be the same of this position, but it's not exactly the same. Why? Because when the volume is down, also all the tails of the ambient effect are cutted. So I can show you again. In this position, okay, let's check the volume. You can continue to hear the tails of the reverb, the delay, and so on. I can put the delay, and I can put also the plex delay. Why? Because you interrupt the signal before any ambient effect. So the effect continue to play even after you go down with the volume. If you put the volume at the end, you have the totally different effect. So you play and the sound shut up. This is not natural, of course, but there are some situations that is necessary to do this. Especially, for example, I have a friend that works with this way because he works on the program TV, and from the requests of the studio, when they close any song, no tails has to be to be left. So they have to close. Boom. Okay. Stop means stop. Nothing has to play. And in this situation, it's better to put the volume at the end of the rig, because you have to cut any kind of tail sound and so on. Okay. There is a specific request. So the position in reality are three. There is this position, okay, it is similar to the guitar knob, the guitar volume. This position, okay, it is you can keep the original distorted sound as it is, and this position is another one. In this position, it is a special for some situation. I agree, is not natural, but sometimes is necessary. So I can understand more this situation, but in this case, it's as Fabio says, I think it's better to use two volume pedal. One placed at the beginning, and the second one placed only for special reason. That's from some requests you have to close any and to cut any tails. Okay, perfect. I hope that it is simple, okay, but as you can see, there are several possibilities to use the volume in a different. And I would like to share with you also another hints, maybe it could be interesting for you, to use the volume pedal, okay, in this way. As you can see, when I go with the volume to the minimum, the tuner is on. Okay, it is possible. It is really comfortable, because first of all, for example, with the FM3, you can save one foot switcher to enable the tuner, and it is much more flexible. And the typical, I think, is a typical use of the tuner because I close the volume. Okay, I can change the guitar to another one. I plug in, and I want immediately to tune up my guitar, and this is really comfortable to be in this situation. How you can do this? Okay, very easy. Go to the setup. Very easy. It's not, let's say, so intuitive. Let's say, because we expect to find this parameter maybe in I/O, maybe in global setting. No, the parameter is in the MIDI control. Go to the MIDI remote. Okay, I can zoom it. Sorry. so it's better. I cannot move the camera, but so let's enter to the MIDI, okay, page right, and go to the other. If you go to the other, you can see here this parameter, tuner on heel down, and you can define here which parameter enable the tuner when the heel is down. And this is the effect. Okay. And another thing is necessary to do, because when you are in the tuner, of course, I suggest you, this is really important, guys, go to the parameter of the tuner and set the mute off. From default value is on, but if you let the tuner on, there is like a gap when you go up with the volume. It's not linear. There is a room where you cannot hear any sound, and suddenly some sound is not smooth. Okay, I hope to use the right word. So please mute, unmute the tuner. Doesn't matter if it works, because you have the volume at the minimum, so no sounds goes out. Okay, already the volume provide to mute the sound, so it's not necessary anymore to mute itself. And this, because this parameter works when the heels is in between a range, and you can hear like a gap when you go up with the volume. It's not so nice. So remember, I recap. Let's go to the setup, MIDI. Then go to the other menu and enable the tuner on pedal 1 or pedal 2 is of course is up to you, where FC, or in my case is pedal 1. Okay, but enable the tuner, so the tuner is enabled, and then go to the mute and set. Typically it is on output or input or output. So you have to set off, otherwise you have the gap. And this is very, very, very useful. Of course, from the other side, you have to remember that when you have not the pedal connected, okay, and you enable the tuner, the sounds is working, and this is not correct. This setup works only when you have the pedal, the volume pedal. But okay, I use the volume 100% of the situations. So okay, but in case you don't use the volume, remember that you have unmuted the tuner. Okay, and to me this is really, really comfortable and efficient, especially when I am on stage, because typically my action is okay, I stopped the song, okay, go down with the volume, start immediately the tuner, I unplug my guitar, okay, I keep another guitar, okay, I bring another guitar, then I start immediately to tune the guitar. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, what nice. And you can see what is the benefit to use the volume at the beginning, because and the beginning end with this curve. Okay, you have to enable this curve because you are really free to check and to create a huge amount of tones working with the volume pedal. Exactly when you work with the volume. So this sound is really high gain sound, but it is really incredible that this sound. My guitar now is with every knobs at the maximum. And this sound is incredible. It is incredible. You can get this sound from this one. Okay, guys. So I see some questions. Okay, let me check your question. Okay. We know in an analogic context, okay, Nicola, in analogic context, the amount of volume can modify the sound and the amount of the drive. Let's think about the famous breakup in digital context. Volume is only for volume. No. Absolutely, Nicola Gabas. Volume, it depends where you place the volume block, as I show you. So, with the volume, you can also control and modify the sound, and this is my typical use of the volume, for example. And I explain you that the volume in the digital world doesn't modify the quality of the sound, because the signal is already converted and there is no any kind of modification, any kind of how can I say, the circuit remain absolutely the same. The potentiometer of your guitar is you left it at the maximum value, so you don't affect anything of your circuit. I can do this. Now I'm working with the guitar volume, and I have less high frequency than here. Okay, it is small things, but there is this. Also, it is a further advantage of the using of the internal volume. Okay, could you just use the output level instead of adding another volume? Yes, interesting question, Raichu. Raichu Ketchum. Okay, I don't know if it is a correct name. Sorry for this. Yes, of course you can use the volume, the output. Okay, you can go to the output and you can check, for example, the level, but or you can check. No, the signal level is not possible. You can check only the level, but it's not nice. First of all, because the maximum, you have to set up the maximum at 0 dB. Don't exceed the 0 dB, first of all. And as I told you, it is the same when you use the volume in this position. So when you go down with the volume, any tails is cutted. I don't know if it's the case. Okay, you can use it, but it's not better. You have two volume block, so you can use two volume. I use the second block only as a booster to boost the signal on 3 dB, but you can use also, I don't know, a parametric EQ. in the flat mode and you control only the level, you can do this. Yes, you can do. Text marker, very useful. The tuner on FM3 with pedal. Thank you so much, Claudio. Okay, talking about the preset that had a volume panel before the output. Okay. Yes. I think I suggest you in any case, also because on important things, the volume works from 0 to 10. Okay. On the output block, you have the 0 to 20 dB, and you never go over, typically never go over 0 dB is not nice. So you have to set up the curve in the way you don't exceed, because I can show you. I set up the volume, okay, and as you can see, I go to the -80, okay. So let's just a moment. I disconnect this one, okay, and this is the minimum. Okay, the volume becomes really loud, so you have to set, because the output block is not only to 0, but you can go over, and you have to avoid this. Not good. So please don't use the output. Makes no sense. You have enough blocks to use as a volume. 2 blocks from default on FM3. But you can use also, for example, with to make the clean booster. Okay, instead to use the volume, I can use a parametric EQ, a graphic EQ, any, let's say, neutral block. For example, I can use the graphic EQ. Okay, I keep the equalization neutral, and I only change the level to, for example, plus 2.7. And so I save another volume to use here. So I have the possibility to use this. Oops, sorry, I'm still on the small one. Okay. Thank you so much, Matteo. Thanks. Makes perfect sense. I wasn't thinking about the trails here. Yes. The trails are problems because, as I mentioned before, there are some cases where it is necessary to cut any trails. So, thank you so much for your attention. I hope you like this tutorial. If you have any further question, please write down to the video, and if you like this channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also the G66 YouTube channel, and also put a like, because the algorithm give a gift to us that promote our videos in your homepage. So please put a like. Thank you so much for your attention, guys, and see you next Fractal Saturday Live. Ciao, have a nice weekend.